Hey guys, it's EV Trainer Joe, and today I've got the iScooter Dx5 Pro. You guys don't want to see it sitting in a box, so we're going to unbox it and we will get into the review. All right, so this is the Dx5 Pro, fully assembled, super easy to assemble. You will notice some things missing on mine. I did not put the side mirrors on because I don't need them. We'll talk about that. I need to unlock it. Same feature as the Dx5 where it has the alarm that goes off and I always forget about it. I don't have the front fender on or the rear fender on, and I actually just took them off. The rear fender came damaged. I've never had issues with iScooter. When things come damaged, they always take care of it, and it's not the most common thing ever. So I think it looks way better without the fenders on, so I ended up taking them off and not putting the front one on, and to me this looks really good. It's supposed to have a 52 volt 20 amp hour battery claiming 65 miles of range, obviously in eco mode, and we will test that out in another video. But for today's video I just want to talk about the features that this has. You have a very cool strobing illuminated brake light. Hopefully you guys can see that because it is smoked out. Turn signals that are sequential and they turn left or right. Headlight, of course, headlight's the same, or at least looks the same as the Dx5, so a plenty bright headlight, good for use. Assembly on this was very easy. It does have one rear shock, and the rear shock is nice. Like you can see, it's a very large shock. It looks like it's got good travel to it, and it feels very comfortable for me. I'm 170 pounds, 6'1" for reference, 17-inch wheels on this one. Something interesting is obviously it claims a 52 volt battery, but when I come over here to the motor on the back of this wheel, it says a 48 volt motor. This is supposed to be a 2000 watt hub motor, as opposed to the 1500 watt on the Dx5. Your battery cutoff is no longer up here like it was on the 5. It is on the bottom right here, and I have mine obviously on. Everything else looks very similar. You can tell it's very Dx5 inspired. You've got the basket on the bottom, and you've got all your controls. If I had to pick one complaint, it is just the throttle position here. I had no choice on this except for to mount it kind of high, because the cord for the throttle comes out right here, and this is as low as I can make the rear brake. So a little bit higher than I like it to be, and I could probably put it under, but just the position of this is not making it easy. So what I might do is loosen this, rotate it forward, and then put this down. So I think that's kind of a good overview. This Dx5 Pro, I think that it is time to ride it and see if it pulls like my Dx5. And of course, how quiet it is. One of the things I like about all these hub motors with the rear drive, the advantage they have over mid-drive or chain-driven, is the quietness of the motor. Wow. Very peppy and also very quiet. What I am going to do is take my phone out and figure out if the speedometer is accurate, and we'll do that once we get on the main road here. So mode 1, very peppy, no problem. That was accelerating up a hill, and 0 issues with that. Very cool. Same hydraulic disc brakes that are on the Dx5, so you're not losing anything. You're actually just getting a supposedly bigger battery with more range, which if you guys remember, or if you watched it, my Dx5, that was actually the one thing I did, was extend the range with another battery. So as far as I know, this is around the same price as the Dx5. Maybe it's $100 more, but you're getting a higher voltage battery, a higher voltage motor, and supposedly way more range out of it. So no beeping when you turn on the turn signals, but there are indicators on the screen. My camera tends to make all of these screens strobe, so if it is strobing, it doesn't. I need to say that because I have comments all the time of people asking why it's strobing. I do not know what this TCS button is. I will put it right there once I figure it out. We're going to put it into mode 2, which is supposed to be 21 miles an hour, and this is just such a smooth ride. Holy cow, this is such a smooth ride. I am a fan. And I'm going to pull out my phone, get my speedometer up, and then we'll get it on the main road here. Alrighty, switching this into mode 4, I'm going to screen record the speedometer app, and you guys will be able to know if this is accurate. I will not, because I'm gonna just drive. So one of the things I don't like is how this always goes into park, but a quick squeeze on the brake takes it out of park. Plenty of pep. I'm not sure if you guys saw just how fast I got going there, but it was very easy. Super comfy, just like the DX5. My legs, I will say my knees look like they're sitting a little bit higher than they are on the DX5, and this does have more ground clearance than the DX5. They claim 17-inch tires, so I'm just sliding my feet back and putting my toes on the back of this, or on the back of the foot pegs, and we are going 38 miles an hour just like that. Really easy to hit the top speed on this thing. Holy cow. Super comfortable, very squishy suspension. Hopefully you guys can see that. It feels ever so slightly stiffer than the DX5. This feels ever so slightly stiffer. That's the best way to say it. Not in a bad way either. The DX5 doesn't have what I would consider to be the best suspension. It's definitely very soft. I am a big boy, 170 pounds, 6'1", so I always assume these are geared towards a little bit smaller people or kids. But this one has a very adult feeling suspension. The tires are fantastic on this, and I'm gonna take it off-road here, and we'll turn around. No problem at all in the grass. Hopefully you guys can see how fast this thing takes off. And just gonna double check my speedometer here. We're saying 0 miles an hour. Here we go. This way I can look at it, you can look at it, and we can see it at the same time. It says 35, 38 right now. And I'm getting 22, 23. All right, let's try it. Let's give it some beans. It says 38. I'm getting 26, 28, 29. I'm getting 30. So we had this issue with the original DX5 where the speedometer was a little bit off. That's very common with most e-scooters. Usually there's a way to calibrate it. On this one, as far as I know, there's no way to calibrate it. Still says 38. I'm seeing 32. I'm seeing 33. All right, let's go to a big straight area and just haul it. Let's just give it the beans. All right, so once we get past here, I should be able to just give it all the beans I have. And this should tell us how fast we're going. And now the speedo says 38. I'm seeing 24. I'm seeing 27. I'm seeing 28. I'm seeing 29. I'm seeing 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. Looks like 34, 35. That's not too bad. So we're seeing a top speed of 34, 35 miles an hour. Gonna stop screen recording that so that we can have it saved. All right, so we're seeing about 35 for the top speed on that. That's nice. It gets there fast. The speedo on this seems to be kind of just a suggestion, because it sure did say it was going 35 almost immediately. So this, in my area, we have some paved kind of walking trails or biking trails. This is the type of bike that you take on one of those, or I guess scooters that you take on one of those, because they are, the hub drive motors are very quiet, as opposed to something that's a mid-drive or chain-driven. These are just so quiet, there's no noise. It's very soft, very comfortable for me to ride. And again, obviously no complaints at all for me. This is funny because it's got like a faux gas tank on the front. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but just like a faux gas tank. The seat's super comfortable. I think that's always worth noting. These e-scooters significantly outperform every e-moto I've ever ridden on for seat comfort, including my e-ride. Just the comfort of the seat here is really, really nice, and we're doing a little loop. As you can see, there's a little bit of gravel on this road, but there is no issue for this tire to have all the grip and some acceleration here. Nice. It just takes off. It really just takes off. I will say it feels peppier than the DX5 ever so slightly, but we'll compare them in another video. We can compare the acceleration so you guys can get a one-to-one test here. And then obviously the range. We've already gone 4 miles on it. That's pretty close to accurate. I am ripping it up right now, guys. I mean, I am not dropped below like 30 since I started, so. Just super enjoyable. Really really smooth feeling bike. I'm not sure if it conveys to you guys, but it's quiet. I'm having a very enjoyable experience here, and it balances itself really, really well. We're gonna go up this hill here, and we smacked our knee on the horn. That's pretty standard. Alrighty, we're gonna go cross here, and I'm gonna give you guys a hill climb test. See if she can't climb some hills. They claim it can, so obviously I would expect it to. And we'll go across. One of the things about a lot of the slower e-scooters is the acceleration is lacking on those like 500 waters. This one has no lacking acceleration. I mean, it gets to the speed it's supposed to be at really quickly. Now is as good of time as any to say I don't actually make money from these reviews. I will list an affiliate link down below. If you decide you want this, you buy it from my link. I get paid a little bit, and it costs you nothing extra. iScooter does not send me these. I have to buy them. So whenever you guys want to, if you use my link, it helps me pay for more of these. I will take the risk, so you don't have to. So far, I will say I've been very happy with iScooter, all the stuff I've gotten from them. And I've bought a lot of iScooter scooters, and it's just because they always look so clean. Like the fit and finish on the iScooters are so nice. They're very smooth, very clean, and their prices are always spot on with basically what I can afford. This is no exception. So when I saw the Dx5 Pro was coming out, I had to give it a test. So this is a pretty steep hill. I would say this is about a 30-degree incline. We're going to start at the bottom in mode 4. See if we can crawl up. So right, what just happened there is I caught a big old rock with the front tire and we didn't go down. So yeah, can't go over the big rock. Look at that drag, the drag mark. All right, here we go. Wow, it's peppy. And we're gonna see, can we make it up the steepest hill? Yeah, no problem. And we're gaining speed. And this is pretty steep. I would say this is about a 35 degree incline. No problem. Made it up. Literally just not even a slight issue. Now I see a nice dirt path over here, and being that I almost ate it on a big rock, I think this needs redemption. So here's a bunch of little rocks. And how does she do on some light gravel? Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Now, usually if I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rip it up on rocks like this, these are big. You can see how big these rocks are. I would be deflating my tires, but since I'm not deflating my tires, I'm just gonna go really slow. No problem at all. Big rocks, no problem. Off-road, no problem. It's got so much torque. It's really just a torquey little bike. All right, so let's talk about it. We just went, hopefully that's not flickering, but about 7 miles in mode 4. Not quite a full battery, and we are down 1 bar. I think it looks way cool without the little front and rear fenders, so it's okay that my rear fender came broken. Man, I just really enjoy this bike. The suspension's good. I mean, we are in what I would consider big rocks, not ideal terrain at all for something with pavement wheels, and something that doesn't claim to be a dirt bike, which it doesn't. It's just a scooter. And man, every time I review one of these, I like it. This Dx5 Pro looks so sleek. It just makes the Dx5 a little bit smaller. Obviously, the Dx5 is a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, so if you're a smaller person, that's perfect for you. The pep on this is great. The bigger battery with the longer range is pretty much what everyone wanted. So I guess if you're deciding between the two and you need that extra range for $100 extra, this is worth it. Not a heavy bike. I guess I should mention that. I just turned it around by hand. It weighs about 100 pounds. Maybe 105, but it's not that heavy. So very easy to move. Seat just as comfortable as the Dx5. It's worth noting if you are a smaller person, you can see the seat's back further. So you're sitting on the rear of the seat. Ironically, on the Dx5 Pro, the seat's up here, and I'm already sitting on the rear of the seat. So for someone like me, it's perfect. What I might do, these are the folding foot pegs. I might pull these out and just put a little foot peg right here for me, because I'm finding, being that I am tall, I'm putting my feet on the back of the foot pegs anyway, so that my knees don't go so close to the handlebar. So if I put my foot all the way forward, you can see my knees pretty close to the handlebar, but I put my foot back like this, and then we're looking at no problem. So, and we'll take it back on this bumpy road all the way back, really just handling it. I mean, it just eats it. So like if you have to go in a gravel, like it can. I'm not sliding out or anything. Alrighty, I like that. So, if you guys want me to, I will do a range test on the Dx5 Pro. And then obviously coming next is a comparison of the Dx5 Pro next to the Dx5. But if you're just looking for a review of the Dx5 Pro, here it is. Overwhelmingly positive, smooth bike. I love the way it feels. And obviously once I get going, guys, I mean, it just balanced itself. I have no complaints about this bike. Another happy customer for iScooter. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.